joyonline.com, and the Midday News is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. Coming up, ECG task force uncovers disturbing trend of consumers using fake meters in a bid to evade payment of debts owed the company.
Chanced upon a customer who has abandoned the official ECG recognized meter and have installed these unauthorized or fake meters because there's debt in the original ECG meter.
A 54-year-old electrician believed to be the brain behind such installations is in police custody. Also, Ghana Water targets private individuals in its revenue mobilization drive as the MD of the company insists the utility companies are not in good shape.
When you see utilities coming at this time to go collect mass revenue this way, something has gone wrong.
Also this afternoon, research reviews abuse of mercury by small-scale miners exposes many Ghanaians to devastating health conditions, including liver and kidney damage.
Corrode the skin and mucous membranes. It causes chewing and swallowing difficulties, reduces reproductive success, impair growth and development, cause liver damage, kidney damage, and neurobehavioral effects, and eventually death.
We have details of that research, and Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority expressed serious concerns about the steep drop in business at the various ports. We have details as the business community warns that with the introduction of new taxes, traffic will even slow down further, other ports driving down government revenue.
The influencer factor that makes total drop of cargo in the port is as a result of inflation due to exchange rate last year and the total reversal of the benchmark values that the government reversed.
And their sports.
Ghana drops in the latest FIFA World Rankings despite not losing during the international break.
And this Easter, kill your speed before it kills you.
As we enter Easter, we have to carry on this responsibility of protecting our lives and protecting others into the Easter and beyond.
That's our Drive Safe campaign and more here on the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for choosing us. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay on for details. Thanks for choosing us. We're settling now, and an electricity company of Ghana task force has uncovered a disturbing trend of consumers using fake meters in a bid to evade payment of debt owed the company. A 54-year-old electrician believed to be the mastermind behind such installation has been apprehended by the police. Well, this comes at a time when the company is on an aggressive revenue collection drive across the country. Ohiming Terrier of our security desk has more in the following report.
The task force, whilst on operation, detected some fake meters installed by the suspect at Kunsu and his environs. Owners alleged John Fofi supplied the meters. Further investigations led to the arrest of the suspect in his hideout, where the police retrieved 8 fake meters. Engineer Kofi Danso is the Ashanti Regional Revenue Protection Manager.
We chanced upon a customer who has abandoned the official ECG recognized meter and have installed these unauthorized or fake meters because there's debt in the original ECG meter. It led us to the corporate who came to install the meter for him. So yesterday the corporate was arrested. We went with the corporate to his house and we found additional meters together with our moratorium.
According to Engineer Danso, the task force will leave no stone unturned in its quest to block all revenue leakages, including dealing with illegal collections and fake meters. At least 50 million Ghana cedis has been retrieved from customers who owe ECG.
Well, let me bring in Ohiming Terrier. He's been doing extensive work on this. Ohiming, so what more have we learned about where exactly these meters were obtained from?
Yes, Emefa, according to the ECG, some of the meters were manufactured and procured by these illegal dealers from Togo, and the meters come with ECG logo embossed on them, and then we also have the Energy Commission and that of the Ministry of Energy as well. So all these are measures being implemented by the illegal dealers just to draw more customers to their end.
Ordinarily, if you're not a technical person, it will be very difficult because these people are smart. Now, what they do is that even when they go to Togo and manufacture these meters and bring to Ghana, they emboss it with the Ministry of Energy and then the ECG logo. So you, the ordinary person, when you see it, you would think it's a genuine meter. Oh, there's ECG there. They say Ministry of Energy. The implication is the doomsday that we all experience. Because when you install a fake meter in your house, ECG doesn't know the meter. You consume power. ECG cannot pay for the power that it purchases from the people. Recently, we heard the IPPs. They are saying that if we don't pay them, we are going to go back to doing so. So, because the person who did the installation is not recognized, or we cannot ascertain his professionalism, the most obvious thing is that you can end up burning your house. And that's why sometimes you see somebody who say, hey, our house, ECG have burnt my house. No. The meter that the person acquired was not acquired through ECG. And because these meters are substandard, they can catch fire at any time, anywhere. And so we just encourage them, they should come around. ECG, we are ready to serve them.
So that's the Regional Revenue Protection Manager, Engineer Kofi Dan. So that's for the Ashanti region. Well, how widespread is this? He's been telling you.
However, the situation is widespread because there are two types of customers. Those who want the new meters and want to get the meters at all costs. When they go to ECG's office, instead of going through the procedure to get the meter, then they resort to these fake meters. And there are others who also want to outwit officials from paying the arrears of electricity bills. So in Kumasi, especially at race course, and almost every part in the Ashanti region, according to ECG, you are likely to face these fake meters in being circulated in the system.
In Ashanti region, it's all over the place, especially if you go to the Kwabri areas, an urban area as race course. So our customers, some of the stubborn or recalcitrant customers, in trying to avoid paying their debts, go for these meters. And in Ashanti region, here in particular, I tell you, it is very, very widespread.
Well, so you heard once again the Ashanti Regional Revenue Protection Manager, Engineer Kofi Dan. So they're speaking to my colleague Ohiming Teria of our security desk. We'll have more on this subsequently. But the External Communications Officer of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Leila Abubakar, says some companies in there are also settling their indebtedness to the company.
Good. I think that week one served as a good sensitization for some of the companies that owed us, both private and public. They had met up on most of their bills. For instance, Jata Cement had met up on all its bills. Junction Mall had done the same. Cosmos Seafoods Company Limited, Fish and Marine had done the same, and Gapoha as well. Accra Breweries, when we got there, they had already made payments. They were waiting for their bill for February. I know that it's a bit difficult for some of the companies, and so when we arrive and there are issues, they raise them to us. But those are doing pretty well, I think, need commendation, and for that reason, we are grateful for our relationship with them.
Meanwhile, project managers of the Ghana Gas Atiaba processing plant say the maintenance work is nearing completion. The company undertook the repairs, which is expected to end tomorrow, April 7. General Manager in charge of operations, Robert Lati, expects a more efficient service.
Currently, Ghana Gas, as a company in the oil and gas sector, especially when it comes to gas, we are always mindful about safety of our facility, safe workplace, integrity of our equipment and facilities, and as well as efficiency of whatever we do. As part of all this, we do shut down periodically when there's a need of any safety critical matters on the facility. And so this current shutdown is a planned shutdown maintenance where the company has sat down, plan it as a result of a safety critical issues program within the schedule that have been approved by the Ministry of Energy and with support of other stakeholders.
Now, if you're a customer of the Ghana Water Company Limited and you have not paid your bill, expect a visit from the company today as it takes its revenue collection drive to private homes and individuals. The exercise, which started yesterday, aims to recover over 800 million cedis in unpaid bills. Managing Director of the company, Dr. Clifford Brimer, tells Joy News the financial strength of the utility companies are not the best, hence the nationwide mobilization.
And we're going to continue. And we are going to make it a regular feature in the work of our customer care assistance. And so what it means is that our customer care assistant, their capacities will have to also be built to be able to explain some of these technicalities to them. Those times we just allow them to go to read the meter, take complaints, bring the complaints, and if there are issues that they have to deal with, they deal with. But they have to come to the offices to report that.
That's the Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Clifford Brimer. Now let's head to the port, because the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GAPOHA, is expressing serious concerns about the drop in traffic at the various ports in the country. According to a letter intercepted by Joy News, the phenomenon started in June as of last year and has been continuing through this year. With government cash-strapped, government cannot afford any drop in revenue, especially at our port, and has been inviting key stakeholders for a meeting to address these concerns. Kweku, first, give us details of that letter.
So this letter is dated 27th March, signed by Michael Luguje, the Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. He says, we've observed a general decline in port traffic in recent times. The phenomenon, according to our data, started in June and July of 2022 and continued through the end of the first quarter without any sign of improvement. And as a major stakeholder, we are inviting you to this meeting for that purpose. They copy the Association of Ghana Industries, Chamber of Commerce, Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, and then the Importers and Exporters Association. And their leader, Samson Asaki Awingobe, is saying that the reason why all this is happening is because of high charges at the port.
Figures are not all that good. I think in our meeting, we were made to, if I can get some figures, we were made to understand that last year, 2021, they did 1.5 million TU, and 2022, they did 1.2 million TU, 1.51 million TU on last 2021, and 2022, it dropped to 1.2. It will affect GPHA its own internal generated revenue. Hence, perhaps if they have obligations to pay their debtors or their staff, and also take expenses in terms of maintaining their equipment and retooling, buying new equipment to come to boost the operations of the port, of course, it's going to affect their revenue. The other aspect is that it's going to affect revenue as a country. Okay. Much comes from the import. So anytime Temahabo, especially Temahabo, if Temahabo revenue drop, then clearly GRA will not meet its own target.
So that's Ansaki Awingobe there, leads the Importers and Exporters Association. My colleague Kweku Asante is still with me in the studio. So Kweku, do we know if this meeting has happened and what the outcome has been?
Indeed, that meeting has happened, and our understanding is that the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority say that they look at the tons of business and the traffic, the volumes that used to go through the port between the beginning of last year until about June has dropped significantly, and they are realizing steep decline in government revenue. And so they've been raising significant concerns about that. They want the stakeholders to come around. If there are any specific issues that they can address for them to be able to continue doing business, then they'll get them on board.
Okay, well, we'll continue to watch that meeting and bring you details of that. But away from it, research has revealed that the abuse of mercury by small-scale miners is exposing many Ghanaians to devastating health conditions, including liver and kidney damage. The chemical is used to extract precious minerals, but researchers say more often than not, it becomes a toxic substance with the potential to cause damage if not handled properly. Mining and its impact continue to engage the attention of key stakeholders with unending calls for modern techniques to save the environment. We can listen to Professor of Chemistry at the University of Ghana, Vincent Kojo Nati, highlighting some major challenges.
Mercury never dies. Thus, the metal is rather converted to the more toxic and stable forms in the environment and persists forever. And this is where the danger lies. As mercury is extensively used in gold extraction by both small-scale and illegal gold miners, their activities expose Ghanaians to mercury contamination through drinking and inhaling of gaseous mercury, which is absorbed into the blood. Once in the circulatory system, it can pass through the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in the brain, damaging the central nervous system. It is also observed that the critical target organs for elemental mercury is the adult and fetal brain, while the critical target organs for methyl mercury are the brain and the kidneys. With this background information, mercury is known to 1. Deteriorate the nervous system, impair hearing, speech, vision, and gait. It causes involuntary muscle movements, corrode the skin and mucous membranes. It causes chewing and swallowing difficulties, reduces reproductive success, impair growth and development, cause liver damage, kidney damage, and neurobehavioral effects, and eventually death.
As a result, he wants government to restrict the sale and use of mercury.
The team calls on the government to enforce tighter control over the sale and usage of mercury. Tighter control over the activities of illegal gold miners should be implemented and sustained. There should be accelerated adoption of cleaner technologies in gold mining and refinery. Government is advised to start a health surveillance program to screen citizens for mercury exposure starting from the mining communities.
That's Professor of Chemistry at the University of Ghana, Vincent Kojo Nate, speaking at his inaugural lecture. Well, a businesswoman has caused the seizure of a school bus and Mahindra pickup vehicle belonging to the Agri Memorial Senior High School. Well, this is because of the school's failure to pay her more than 100,000 cedis after she supplied food items to the school. The vehicles are currently being kept at the premises of a Cape Coast District Court and will be handed over to an auctioneer in due course. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable joins me in studio with more. Joseph, give us the background to this particular issue.
So the company involved is Kanamis Enterprise. Its managing director, Comfort Nkrumah, sued the school as she contended that in 2018 she entered into a contract with the school to supply food items on a credit basis. The total goods supplied was valued at 257,000 cedis. A part payment was made, leaving more than 100,000 cedis outstanding, and this is what resulted in the decision to initiate a legal action. And what has been the response of the school so far? The school in court actually admitted to the debt and indicated that what was outstanding stood at 154,717 cedis. The court, as a result, said that it meant that the matter was settled in that an admission had been made, and so directed that payment should be made. This was in 2022. And has payment been made since then? No, resulting in the businesswoman initiating steps to have the two vehicles attached. They are currently at the premise of the Cape Coast District Court and have been there for more than a week. The plan is to have them sold, but the surprise is that school authorities have not made contact either with the court officials or with the businesswoman, and so now they are just looking forward to the process ongoing to have those vehicles sold. Thank you very much, Joseph Akable. Now, religious leaders in the country are calling for a review of the 1992 Constitution to reduce the powers vested in the president, which they describe as excessive. According to them, current provisions of the Constitution does not allow for proper checks and balances, which makes fighting corruption difficult. The religious leader took the attempt to contribute to the IEA dialogue on reviewing the 1992 Constitution. Spokesperson for the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Karimi Al-Shaibu, said the National Development Commission should be giving adequate constitutional backing in their role.
There is the need for an enhanced provision, entrenched provision, and I will say the entrenched position, that will make the long-term national development agenda of the NDPC binding on this and any other successive president. We must find a way to fix somewhere and make it binding. That you can't come with your program and abandon an existing ongoing project also meant to serve the interest of the total of the nation. But since it doesn't go with your political and partisan agenda, deliberately you leave it to rot.
Well, President of the Worldwide Miracle Outreach, Dr. Lawrence Tete, advocated for a reduction in the powers vested in the president whilst calling for an extension of the presidential term limit to 6 years.
The excessive powers of the president is a main point of contention in the 1992 Constitution. The president has extensive executive authority, including the right to dissolve parliament, appoint and remove public officials, and make important decisions without consulting the branches of the government. This kind of powers invested into a president, it limits the checks and balances. This power concentration threatens democracy.
Well, the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabnaboafo, says the time limit for which civil and criminal action can be taken against a president after serving must be reviewed to 10 years instead of the current 3 years.
We regard the executive powers of the president. It is our considered view that in the addition to the argument for a strict separation of powers between the executive and the legislature, we propose that for the purpose of probity and accountability, the Constitution should extend the time limit within which civil and criminal proceedings can be instituted against the President within a period of a decade after his or her ceasing to be the President in respect of anything done.
That's the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabnaboafo, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We are live on Facebook on myjoyonline.com, and is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience, and Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. And this afternoon, Ghana Ports and Harbours authorities have expressed serious concerns about the steep drop in business at the various ports. When we return from the break, we have sports, and this Easter, kill your speed before it kills you.
As we enter Easter, we have to carry on this responsibility of protecting our lives and protecting others into the Easter and beyond.
Thanks for sticking with us. Let's do sports.
Yes, Emefa, now Ghana has dropped 2 places in the latest FIFA World Rankings, despite being unbeaten during the international break. The Black Stars had previously held the 58th position following their participation at the 2022 FIFA World Cup, but after securing a win and a draw against Angola in a back-to-back AFCON qualifiers, Ghana has now slipped to the 60th position. They, however, keep their 11th position on the African continent, behind the likes of Morocco, Senegal, Tunisia, Algeria, and Nigeria. That's your spot.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. Are you renting? Or you have your own apartment? Okay, all right. It is mentioned that renters are not supposed to pay agent fees directly to housing agents. The Rent Control Department indicates that the law prohibits this, allowing only property owners to make those payments. PRO Emmanuel Apawu reviewed this after news broke of an online swindler in Accra defrauding people seeking to rent apartments. The scammer boldly takes unsuspecting victims to an apartment, hands over keys to a non-existent building to them, and then takes an advance payment. One of the victims, Bright Ewusi, went ahead to report the matter to the police, but he's yet to hear anything substantive from them.
On Thursday, when I find out that the guys have squandered my money or scammed me, so I went to my 7 police station to go and make a complaint. And I wrote my statement, and then they told me to go. They are going to work on it. But the police were very reluctant about it. And at that particular point, to me too, my rent was almost due. I needed my money. So I went to the headquarters. I was directed to go and see one of the cyber crime unit. I went to meet one Peter, I've forgotten the other name. And then they took me to another police officer, and then they asked me to write a petition. So I wrote my petition, and then I'm told that the petition is going to take like 3 weeks for them to process it and then get me an investigator to handle my case.
Meanwhile, Secretary General of the National Tenants Union of Ghana, Frederick Opoku, blames the thriving scamming business on the failure of the Rent Control Agency to adequately educate the Ghanaian.
I believe issues of information, education is very low, and that people have taken advantage of the inactions and the actions of maybe the department responsible for ensuring that they're able to put a lot more information and educate the public about what is happening.
But PR of the Rent Control Department, Emmanuel Apawu, says only 5% of the rent charged is supposed to be paid to the agent via the property owner and not directly to the agents. He says processes have begun to regularize agents and brokers to weed out crooks and scammers.
Under our current law, that's the Act 220, the fee is supposed to be 5% out of the rent advance that the tenants pay. So that when you go and then you like the premises and you pay your rent advance, the landlord is supposed to give you 5% of the rent advance that you've paid to him, to the agent, because he has contracted the agent to look for the apartment. It shouldn't be left and right demand for...
Once you've made the payment of say 30,000,
exactly, that's
it behoves the landlord or landlady to pay.
That's what the law says.
Time for Tech Thursday, and devices for detecting smoke, heat and burglary are mostly individual units installed at different places within a facility. Well, this comes with the cost of installation and maintenance. Additionally, these systems are operated through the internet, exerting additional burden. What if there can be a single unit which does all these? Well, that's exactly what Ghanaian engineers at Tech Divisal Security have developed. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Debra speaks with the CEO of the company, Stephen Boache Frimpong.
With this new Tech Divisal Security, both fire and security can be controlled by a single device. Stephen Boache Frimpong is CEO of Tech Divisal.
This is the Tech Divisal Smart Integrated Security System. Our security kit includes a wireless smoke and heat detector that has a battery that can last for 10 years, a PIR sensor, a door window sensor, and an alarm system that connects to all these sensors at the same time wirelessly, and is able to place a call to you when an incident happens without internet. Going forward, our smart smoke and heat detectors will be able to predict fire days before they happen. Imagine a device telling you if you don't do A or B, there will be fire in your house tomorrow. Also, our smart intelligent cameras are being programmed to profile and recognize the bad guys. This way, we won't wait for a bad guy to act before we catch them. The cameras will detect the bad guys before they even think of acting or stealing from you.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Debra.
And that's our Tech Thursday for today, and it's Holy Thursday as well, and many people who usually travel to other destinations for the Easter celebrations have filled bus terminals to catch a ride. They are, however, concerned about their safety as some drivers speed during this period so they can make lots of sales. The passengers are therefore urging the drivers to be extra vigilant so they can arrive at their destination safely. They've been speaking to my colleague Bernice Abubedu Lanza.
Driving safely so you can go safely, right? Yes.
Me de kind me ho hyenya mensa. Se nyame mo me ho ban driver na o de me ekọ ne so. Onya ne kwan kyerefo no mfa yenkodura asomdwiem. Sanse wo kọ wan ka hwe amfa nkyere no. Bibi kosi a onkwa na ade ato esan.
So Mercy is basically saying that, I mean, when she's embarking on a journey, she has a very clean mind. She commits the journey into God's hands. But obviously, she is concerned when a driver is being reckless and will tell him to drive properly and carefully. And she says that it's her life here. And so she won't put her life on the line like that. She needs to insist that the driver does the right thing.
I try not to travel at night. And I make sure I pray before I go. I thank you very much.
Thank you for talking to us. Very, very important.
Meanwhile, lots of personnel from the Road Safety Authority at major road intersections and mass terminals will enforce road safety regulations and caution drivers to be extra vigilant. Asidu Mensah is one of them.
If you have something like pre-departure checks, you check the bus before you take off from the station. Tires, the wiper, and sometimes the headlights. So during the evening, if you drink, then you are finished. You'll be fired the same day. Another driver will take the bus away. Especially on occasion like this, the bus is ready to move. I'll be in the bus, talk to the passengers to take care of the driver, how he's doing. If it's not good, the next destination, report to the officer there. If you don't, you misbehave, they can let another driver take the bus.
Well, we can hear from the Acting Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, David Safwa Donting, on killing your speed before it kills you.
As we enter Easter, we have to carry on this responsibility of protecting our lives and protecting others into the Easter and beyond. We all know that when it gets to Easter, we are so excited. We want to do everything to enjoy ourselves. And in that merrymaking, just as it is for Christmas, and so on occasions like that, people would travel a lot from their various homes, or the supporters and partners. The Ghana Police Service are going to populate the road space.
Safe driving saves lives. Drive safe.
And stay safe this Easter. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. And Ghanaian Panthers worried over new tax on sports betting. Ghana drops to 60th in latest FIFA rankings. And this Easter, Joy FM is to spend time with residents of Weija Leprosarium. That's our Easter soup kitchen going to the Weija Leprosarium. Join us on the 10th of April. I am Emefa Apawu. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil up next.